Hi, I'm Bill Murphy. In addition to being station manager for Hicksville Community Television, I'm also a proud member of the Hicksville Rotary Club. The Rotary meets every week on Tuesday for a nice luncheon, also fellowship, fun, and a featured speaker that talks to the Rotarians about the events of the day or items of interest to the general community. And in a new partnership with Hicksville Community Television, the Hicksville Rotary Club has asked me to bring my camera along to the meetings to share with you some features and highlights of some of the guest speakers that appear at the Hicksville Rotary Club. So that's what this program is all about, and we hope that you enjoy it. Featured speakers from recent meetings of the Hicksville Rotary right here on HIX-TV.
Thank you, Mike. And just a reminder, the box is going to be going around to collect money for the mystery box. So, all right. Well, I'd like to thank everyone who came out to the stakeout last week. We had a pretty good crowd, and for a program, we had Linda Foster come out and talk a little bit about a project the beautification committee is going to be working on. If you remember, a couple weeks ago, I had asked if anyone had suggestions for projects we could do for a community service project. Quite a few people recommended helping out the beautification committee, so we got a hold of them and asked them what we could possibly help them out with. And what they're looking at doing is down at the park, obviously the pavilion has been there for quite a while. Some of the bushes and things are starting to get overgrown, and there's quite a few bushes that they'd like to rip out. Do you guys have any idea how many there is? I'm going to guess 50 or 60. Does that sound about right? So probably about 50 or 60 shrubs down around the pavilion that they want to have pulled out and have the ground kind of leveled off a little bit so that they can, re-landscape and just get things looking a little bit nicer. So what we're going to do for our project is we're going to set aside some time, and tentatively we're looking at Wednesday, July 15th, around 3:30 to start. And the reason we selected that date is because the football team is going to be down at the park and they can potentially help us with the project. So what we're looking for is we're looking for volunteers to come down and help, help pull out the shrubs. So we're going to need people who have trucks and trailers to transport the shrubs either to the recycling center, or Leonard said possibly that we could take some back to his woods. So we're going to need people with trucks and trailers. We're going to need people with people who may have a backhoe or a bobcat or a big truck, anything that could be used to rip the shrubs from the ground. And obviously we're going to need some volunteers. So if there's anyone that knows you have a truck, a trailer, or something that we can use to pull the shrubs out of the ground, please let me know, because obviously we're not going to hold the date for July 15th if we don't have any machinery available to help us. So if you have any of those items, please let me know. And once we get that date set up, we'll pass around a sign-up sheet and kind of get an idea of who might be available to help us out with that. So in addition to needing things, we're thinking that most likely we're probably going to have a little grill out while we're there for the volunteers and also for the football team. So if there's anyone interested in grilling, please let me know, and we can make sure that you have everything you need and get your head count.
Football team will be going into practice after that, Kurt, so I'm assuming that they aren't going to want to eat much.
Okay, so if the football team's not there, okay. All right, so we may not need that. And then lastly, if anyone's interested after we get all the work done, if anyone's interested in hosting a little social gathering afterwards, it might be nice to get everybody together and just kind of relax a little bit after the job's done. So if you're interested in volunteering your time or your equipment or your home, please let me know, and we'll try and put together a good day where we can get some things done and follow it up with a little bit of fun. So I don't know if anyone has any questions, or do you have anything to add, Susan? No? Okay, so I guess to start out, if you have machinery or a truck or trailer or anything we can borrow, please let me know, because we need to make sure we have all that available on the 15th, and that's kind of where we'll start at. So if there's no other questions on that, we'll go ahead and continue with the President's report. And I've asked Jim Renzi to come up and talk a little bit about the foundation, and then we'll have Larry Keller come up and talk a little bit about the financials of the club. So, thanks. Jim?
This is a real brief brief update on the foundation. The value of our investments as of May 31st with Minch Financial is $535,863, and that has appreciated by $11,195 since the first of the year. We also have a T-bill for $25,000, which is earning 9%, and we have a CD at the Hicksville Bank for $30,760. Recently, we awarded 10 scholarships to area students in the amount of $12,687.50. So, thank you.
Steve. Yeah. We didn't get it yet, actually.
Jim's was short, mine's going to be shorter. Kurt won the whole. Sorry, Kurt.
Yep.
Revenue. Let's see what we took in. This doesn't count today, so it's basically for the whole year except for today. Revenue, we took in $40,055.16. The box that goes around, we took in $1,246.36. Fellowship, $1,981. I'm sure they did 2,000 here today. So, meals, we took in $17,387. Dues, we took in $6,755, and miscellaneous, or what I call other, we took in $12,685.80. So, stuff we spent money on, meals, we spent $14,512 on meals. Club expenses, $811.45. That's because of all these new member badges we had to buy. Rotary dues, $5,380. The foundation, we actually EREY this year. We sent in $4,506, which isn't bad. We now have 48 members. They want you to hit the $100 EREY. We didn't quite get there, but that's still not too bad. Other donations, I've read through them before, but some of the latest ones we did was the Food Resource Bank. We just did $300 to the chamber. DARE, $200. Boy Scouts, $216. The shelter box, we did an $800, which that's the district was pushing that this year. And we had 3 Rotarians pass away through the year. George Roars, Bill Cleveland, and Mary Broadbeck. And total expenses, $39,473.15, and the checking account has $10,421 in it. That sums it up.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks, Larry. As you may or may not know, this is my last week as president, and I've really enjoyed my time here. Yep. So I really enjoyed my time here. Like I said when I came in, I didn't have big aspirations for taking on a big project or anything like that. Just wanted to have fun and maybe get a little positive PR for our club. So over the year, a couple things we've done is we've got the TV station now where all our meetings are on TV, so everyone can see all the fun we're having in our meetings. And we have recently purchased a sign to put out in front of the church, just a Rotary Meets Here sign, so people who are passing through town know where we meet and when we meet, so they can find us if they want to find us. Community project, I think it'd be good for our club to try and spend more time out in the community doing service projects as opposed to just writing checks and giving money away. So that's something that hopefully we have a good time at our first project, and everyone wants to keep going with that. And I asked everyone to try hard and find good programs for this year and bring guests. And overall, I was real happy with the programs. I think everyone did a good job finding programs for the year. And thank you to everyone who brought guests to the meeting. Turk Guilford actually brought the most guests this year, so he brought 6 guests, which was the most of any Rotarian over the years. So we appreciate that, Turk. It's nice to get new faces in the room, which should be all of our goals. So that's really all I have. I thank you guys for putting up with me for the year. I had a great time, and if you have not taken a year to be president, it's actually pretty easy. There's not too much really to do. So thank you all for a great year, and thank you for the different committees who helped handle your events and your chairs. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn things over to Bill Langscheid, who's going to be the new president for the next year. So thank you all.
I also have a pin for you as past president, and I thank you for doing a great job, except for the fact that's going to make it a lot harder for me. But I look forward to this next coming year. Any ideas that anybody has, we'll look forward to those. But as Kirk said, one of the things that I would like to see us do is a lot more things in the community where we can wear our Rotary shirts and show the community what we do. Because as we come here, and many of you, I know have been in the club for probably 30, 40 years or maybe longer, we assume everybody knows. But a lot of people that I talk to in the community about Rotary, they say, what is that? Is that some kind of a secret group that you guys all get together? And, we don't understand what you guys do, type thing. So, and I know we've had a lot of things in the paper, but unless people see something quite a bit, they just don't necessarily realize it. And I look forward to everybody that's going to be on committees and also help in any way as we go forward. I know Rotary is wanting us to try to have the president-elect, and then a couple of president-elects behind them. And they would like those people on the board so they could be on committees. So that's something that I'm going to try to help happen. If anybody does have interest in being president, please let me know. Like Kirk said, it's we just kind of monitor and guide the club. And the club has had many, many great members over many years, so that makes it pretty easy to do. You look around the room, most of the chairs are filled, so that's a very good sign. Does anybody have any questions of me? Please, no negative comments. We'll have to get to Sergeant of Arms and start doing some fines. Okay, then with that, we'll go ahead and stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Fellow Rotarians and guests, back shortly after World War II, Rotary started doing a youth exchange, a small youth exchange with Germany in order to build positive relationships again. And so that was when the youth exchange program started with Rotary, and it's continued since that time and grown and flourished. On your tables is information about Chloe Bernier, who will be our exchange student next year. And so it tells about Chloe. She's a high school graduate, but she'll be going to Hicksville High School and participating as if she was a high school junior, probably. And but it tells a little bit about her. She'll be living first with Craig and Tanya Iden, and second with the Mazur family. And so also we'd be happy to have a third family if there's any family that would be interested in hosting her. And what I always learned since I've been involved in youth exchange, I was told that the main reason we do exchanges, bring students here, is so that we can send students overseas. Because it is a true exchange. We send X number of students to a certain country, and that certain country sends to this 10 district area the same number of students. And so what we're always looking for are high school students that are interested in being exchange students. And it's a lot easier in other countries to find students who want to come to the United States than it is in the United States to find students who want to go overseas. You know, they look at their high school years are so busy, they're involved in sports, they're involved in other clubs and activities. So it's real hard for many kids to imagine spending a year abroad. But we constantly are looking for students. It's not going to be every student, but there are certain students that want to take this challenge and spend their sophomore year, their junior year, sometimes even their senior year, if they've gotten all their coursework out of the way, a year abroad. And the Rotary program is a lot less expensive than any other exchange program, and enables the student to live with, instead of one family, which is what most exchange programs do, with Rotary, the student usually lives with multiple families. So they see how different families live, because not every family lives the same way. Last year, after many years of not sending any students outbound, we sponsored Paige Garza to go to Peru, and Paige came back, 3 weeks ago, and she's going to tell us about her adventures during the last year. Paige Garza.
Hi, like Susan said, my name is Paige Garza, and I spent the last year in Peru. And in Peru we had 64 exchange students total, and that's where I got all of these from. So the first slide that I have is the flag of Peru, and over the years this flag has definitely become a part of me. Yeah, this is I flew out of Detroit on July 27th of 2014, and that was when my year had officially begun, and I said goodbye to all of my family. These are photos from my first week in Lima. All of the exchange students spent 2 weeks in Lima to go to the language camp, and we visited the Congress building that they have in Lima. In the top middle row is the very first host family that I ever stayed with, and they were my host family for 2 weeks. And the boy on the left in the blue Rotary sweatshirt went to Colorado while I was in Peru. And the middle on the left was the whole group of exchange students that were in Peru. This was my first month in Tacna, and the longest photo is my first host family in Tacna. I had 2 siblings, I had a brother and a sister. My brother lived in the house with his wife and his 5-month-old son, so I got to help babysit him for my first few months there, and I helped out with the maids and stuff. And the other pictures are from a invitation that I had from a fellow Rotary exchange student that was in Tacna. And we went to a thing called Orgullo, which means pride in Spanish, and we got to see a lot of the custom dance from each city. And the one in the white dresses, that's from Tacna, and that's the Macarena, it starts with an M, I can't think of it right now. And it was really neat to see all the different dances from the different regions that they had in Peru. This was my second host family. There in the top left corner, I had 2 sisters and a brother, and my sister went to an all-girls school, and my brother went to an all-boys school, and then my school is the bottom picture that was from our prom, and we were a graduating class of 30, and then in the middle was my classroom that I got. We also went to the beach in December and January, because that's when the summer was in Peru, so it was always nice to tell my family that it was January and it was snowing and 10 degrees here, and it was sunny and 80 in Tacna. This is when I went to Chile with my host mom in Tacna. I had to go to Chile to get my passport renewed because we didn't get a student visa. So that was some of the food that I had in Chile, my passport stamp, and the flight to Chile. This is going to be pictures from the first trip that we took. The first city that we went to was Arequipa, and in Arequipa they have a lot of animals that are similar to the llama. They have llamas, alpacas, and a vicuña. And a vicuña is a really small animal on the bottom right, and they use a lot of their fur because it's a lot softer than alpaca and llama fur. So they use that, but it's really expensive. And then the bottom left corner is the cathedral that was in the main square in Arequipa. And the top left is the mountain Misty, which is very popular in Arequipa. It's a volcano, but it hasn't erupted in over 100 years. This is Colca. It is a city within the province of Arequipa, and we got to see the vicuñas, and there is mostly desert. And it says, "Welcome to the Condor Cross," because they have a lot of condors in Arequipa and around Colca and Puno. And we got to see a few condors flying around where the vicuñas were. These are the floating islands, and the floating islands were absolutely amazing to look at, because on the bottom right photo you're seeing what we're standing on. It was actual squares of dirt floating in the water, and what they did was they covered this dirt with straw, and any time that the island would float down a little bit, they put more straw on and more straw on. And our guide told us that if there was ever a family feud or if a family broke the rules, what they would do is they would take a saw and they'd cut. This is Cusco, and Cusco was where we did all of our walking, and we got to see a lot of the Incan ruins. In the bottom left-hand corner, there are rocks that look like slides, and you can slide down them. So, of course, 64 exchange students were like, yes, slides. So we got to climb up these rocks, and all of this is naturally made. None of it was man-made, so it was really cool to see how these rocks formed like that, and then you could actually slide down them. And in the top left corner, that's me, and there were these big circle rings, and the next to it is another place. We visited a ton of Incan ruins while we were in Cusco, and we learned a lot because the Incans were extremely intelligent people, how to get water to their crops. And then the bottom right-hand corner is when I went walking with an exchange student, because we had 5 hours of free time and we could just walk around Cusco and kind of get lost and explore the city. And this is one of the markets that they had winding down the streets. And the interesting thing about the markets in Cusco is if you wanted to get a chicken, all you would have to do is they had a bunch of live chickens running around in a square. You'd go up, and we saw one of the ladies get a chicken. She kind of looked for a second, and she said, "I want that one." So the guy went, grabbed the chicken by the head, laid him on the table, cut his head off, put it in the bag, and sent her on her way for her dinner. is Machu Picchu. And when we first got to Machu Picchu, it took my breath away. It was absolutely gorgeous. Then it also took my breath away because we had to walk a million stairs. And the Incans, how they made their stairs is the royal people, the kings and the queens of the Incan tribes, they were a lot taller than normal people. So the steps, like a normal step would be like this, their steps were like this. So not only are we in high altitudes and it's already hard to breathe, but we're walking up these ginormous steps. And we had learned that when they made Machu Picchu, they were making the steps a lot bigger, and all the peasants that were making all of these steps in all the different areas of Machu Picchu, they were making it and they're thinking to double the steps. They're doubling their size for the royal people because they're so much taller than they were. This is the second city. I moved to Pucallpa in January. And on the left-hand side is in February, and that's when we have Carnival. Carnival is a bigger celebration in Brazil, and it's not very popular in Pucallpa and Peru. But in Pucallpa, certain families will have their whole street lined up. It used to get really, really wet and really, really dirty. Because what they do is, if you walk by, whether you're celebrating Carnival or not, if you walk by, you drive by on your motorcycle, you're going to get wet. They have buckets of water that will throw it at you as soon as you step out of your car. And then, of course, we had 5 exchange students live in Pucallpa, including myself. And Carnival was a blast because we got a bunch of paint and we just smothered each other in paint and water and cornstarch. So we had cornstarch and water in our hair, and it was sticky and it was gross, and it was a lot of fun. And we did a lot of dances. And that stick that's kind of behind us with a bunch of stuff at the top, what they did is towards the end of the night, they cut it down. Everybody would get a chance to hit it with an axe, and whoever cut it down won and got to pick from it first. And after that, it was a free-for-all, like a piñata at a child's birthday party. And they had Tupperware, they had flip-flops, they had sunglasses, they had a bunch of random things on there. And so as soon as it fell down, everybody ran and grabbed something. The lake in the middle is Yarinacocha, and it was one of the bigger rivers that ran by where I lived. And it was really neat because my uncle had a house by the river, so we would visit him a lot and we would go swimming. In the top right-hand corner is my family. I had 2 sisters and a brother in this family also, and when I went to school in Pucallpa, I went to school with my brother in his class. This is Iquitos. This is the last trip that we took, and where I have Iquitos right in the top left-hand corner, that is the Amazon River. And then below that are 2 piranhas. And while we were in Iquitos, we went on a boat ride in the Amazon River, and we were splitting up into 4 groups. 2 groups went on the boat ride the first day, and I was part of that group. And we went on a boat ride and we went to this little pond type area, and we went fishing for piranhas. And we would catch them, and then the tour guide would take it off the hook and throw it back in. So we went fishing for piranhas, and then we went back into the Amazon River, and we were looking for the pink dolphin. The thing about the pink dolphin is it's a regular river dolphin, and when it's young, it's gray, and it looks like a normal dolphin, but as it ages, it turns pink. So that's how you know the old ones from the young ones. The old ones are all pink, and the young ones are still very gray. And then after we got done looking for the dolphins, my tour guide told us we could go swimming in the Amazon River. So of course we're like, well, swimming in the Amazon River, who gets to do that? So we all jumped in. And then all the other tour guides said, no, 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 it's too dangerous, but they didn't let their groups go. So my group was the only group that got to go swim in the Amazon River, and now my family members are saying that I was crazy, but. And then in the middle, there is a guy, and he has kind of like a grass skirt on, and this is one of the older tribes that lived in Iquitos before any other people got there. And they have very normal tribes, and they're very religious. They stay true to kind of the Incan culture, and they were really neat to get to know and watch. And this is some of the foods that I ate. In the top left is Inca Cola, and that is the biggest drink in Peru. And it's delicious. It tastes like bubblegum the first time you taste it. It smells like bubblegum when you open it. It's really sugary, but it's really good. And then next to that is Takana Sour. That's what I had. We each got to try that when we first got to Takana. And it's a spin off of the Pisco Sour, which is the alcoholic drink of Peru, and it's what everybody has at every party. And so in our first Rotary meeting, I got to try Takana Sour, which was a little bit different. I didn't really like it, but a lot of the people did. Next to that is a pink drink. It is Camu Camu, which is a fruit in the jungle in Pucallpa and Iquitos. And it's only found in Pucallpa and Iquitos, and it was my favorite drink. I had it all the time. And then next to that was just, when we went to Cusco, we saw they had a ton of corn and rice, and it blew my mind how many types of potatoes there are when we went to the markets. And then on the bottom left-hand corner is a sandwich with anticucho, which is grilled and seasoned cow heart. I didn't know what it was the first time I had it until after I finished my sandwich, but then after that I have ordered it a million times. And then next to that is pastel de choclo, which is a cake which is corn-based. It's kind of like a cornbread, but it's more moist, and it has raisins in it. And the corn that they use is called choclo, but it's a lot bigger than the corn that we have here in Ohio and that we grow and everything. And then the very last one is huane, and it is rice-based, and it has chicken inside of it. And this huge banana leaf that they have is what they cook it in. They mold it into a rectangle, and then they wrap it in the banana leaf, and they tie it all together, and then they throw it on the grill. And then the rice gets the season from the banana leaf, and turns it all green, and it is delicious. And that is a food that you only get in Pucallpa. This is all of us in front of Machu Picchu, and a thank you for allowing me to have this year, because the Rotary Club supported me and helped me, and I'm very thankful for all of that. So thank you guys so much.
Any questions? You didn't mention schools.
The schools were very, very different. We stayed in one class the whole day. Everybody had the same classes. We were split up into, the high school had 5 years. You had your first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, and fifth grade. And you finished school when you were 16. You graduated and you were done, you were going to college when you were 16, 17 years old. And the classes that I had were pretty similar to what we have here. They had a language class, they had English, they had maths, they had gym class, but they also had a religion class, and they had a government class. And when I first had religion class, it blew me away because we can't have religion classes in the United States because so many people have so many different religions. But in Peru, there were very strong Catholics, so religion classes were a breeze for everybody. And then school started at 7 and it ended at 3, so they were normal school hours, but we would have 2 breaks in between. We had one around 9 and then another one around 1. And the way that we had classes is a teacher would come in and then the teacher would leave and go to her next class. So it wasn't the kids changing the classrooms, but it was the teachers changing the classrooms. I would like to hope so. I have talked to a few people, and they said that my Spanish was pretty good, so. When I first got there, yes, because they were screaming at me in Spanish, and I was like, yeah, what you said. Exactly.
To get across the Andes, did they have tunnels?
I wasn't ever really in the Andes where I lived. Tacna was as as south as you can go, because Tacna used to be part of Chile, and then they had, I'm not sure. I heard two different stories, that Tacna was originally part of Peru, and that Tacna was originally part of Chile, and then they had the Pacific War over Tacna, and then Peru won and got Tacna. But it's as south as you can get, and it's just dirt. And then I lived in the jungle, so there weren't any mountains there. It was just really humid.
Did you see McDonald's while you were there?
Yeah, actually in Lima there was McDonald's, there was Starbucks, Pizza Hut, KFC, Popeyes. So, yeah.
You didn't have to leave home.
No.
Were the people friendly?
For the most part, yeah. And Tacna, there aren't any white people, because Tacna is not a very popular place to go, because there's not much to do there except for go to Chile. So whenever I went out, it was like, oh, she's white. And then they'd talk to me and they'd be like, oh, and she speaks Spanish. So I always threw people off. But for the most part, yeah, everybody was really nice. I had great families, I had great friends, and I was very lucky for that.
Is the technology in school pretty similar to what they use here, or how
It was kind of similar. They, for my computer class that I had in Tacna, we would all go upstairs and everybody had a computer and we would set stuff up, but everything was pretty similar. I didn't really notice any technical differences too much. I mean, everything here is a lot more advanced, but they still have a lot of the similar things. Like people having a smartphone in my school was a normal thing, so.
They have the 3 or 4 Ds, I forget what it is. No
drinking, no driving, no dating, no drugs. Yep, and they had it in English also. They like when I went to a Rotary meeting, they were talking about exchange students and the 4 Ds, and they would say they had the 4 Ds on the screen. It would be in English, but they'd say it all in Spanish.
Did you get your grade card back?
My host mom, Kalpa, got my grade card. She said I didn't do that great, but.
I meant on the 4 Ds.
Oh, no. No. I would love to do it again. I wouldn't want to go to the same country, but I would love to go to a different country. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan, for all the work that you do on the exchange program, because to me it's just exceptional, the information and the culture that a person can learn, that you could read about it in a book or watch a movie, but it would never be the same. So appreciate that.
I'm going to talk briefly about some of our community activities. It's one of our strategic goals to be more involved with the community, and especially the schools. And so recently we have partnered with the American Heart Association, and we're going to be sponsoring CPR training in 5 schools in the area. It's going to be Hicksville schools, Eden, Edgerton, Fairview, and Antwerp. And what we will do with this sponsorship is that we will sponsor training kits that will go to each school. There'll be 10 kits in each school, and they have a little mini Annie. It's only about that big, but it has all the parts that you need to resuscitate it. And they're inflatable, so they come in nice little bags. And then they have kneel mats and DVDs, hand pumps to inflate the mannequins, collection storage bags, classroom carry bags, replacement airways, wipes, face masks, facilitator guide lessons. So there'll be 10 of those in each school, and then the school has instructors that are already trained for American Heart Association CPR, so they will conduct this training in probably health classes, etc. And there is an initiative out there where they might require CPR certification for graduation. Not sure if that's going to happen, but it is out there, and so this would obviously help to satisfy those requirements. So another thing that we do in the schools is athletic training, and I am going to introduce Dr. Jonathan Haggerty and Jake North, who are two of our athletic trainers that are in the school participating, and I'll let them tell you about it. Dr. Haggerty, I think everybody knows him. I don't have to tell you too much about him.
Well, I'm not going to talk much. You guys already listen to me talk every week, so you guys know mostly what I do. You guys haven't heard from Jake, though. So we're going to have Jake come up here and talk a little bit about athletic training. A little bit about Jake. He's been with us, since around, what, 2011? Is that when it was? Yeah. Okay, so the 5th year for both of us. We kind of started around the same time. I was on a few months before Jake was. We brought Jake in because we were hoping to cover Eden, Eden, Edgerton, and Hicksville. I do Hicksville's events on Tuesday, Wednesdays, Fridays, Saturdays. And then Jake's my right-hand man. He takes care of Hicksville when I'm gone on Monday and Thursdays. And then he's at Edgerton every other day. And then we kind of help to cover each other's back whenever something comes up with family or something else, then so we can cover all those events. Like I've covered some wrestling events for him, and he's covered probably a lot more for me than what I've covered for him, because I do a little chiropractic stuff on the side as well. Anyways, a little bit about Jake. Like I said, he graduated from Antwerp. He lived in Bryan for a little bit, I think, and then he grew up in Antwerp as well. His wife is Janelle, and they've got a little boy named Roman, who's going to be a year here in a couple of days, year-old Thursday. What else? He graduated with his master's degree in athletic training from Finley. He was a snake wrangler in Texas in 2006, something like that. No, he does a lot of things. He's very, very talented with what he does, and like I said, he fills in for me whenever I'm not there. It's great because I have somebody that can easily cover my back and even probably do more things than what I can do. We don't skip a beat whenever he steps in at Hicksville for me. So I won't talk too long. I'll let Jake come up here and tell you a little bit about athletic training, what he does. So everybody welcome Jake North. Yeah, I thought the snake wrangler was better than mine, so it was good.
All right, I want to thank everybody for letting me come up here and chat with you. I hope I don't bore everyone too much. I'll try and keep it short and sweet. But a little bit about me. Like Dr. Haggerty said, I grew up in Bryan, and then just before high school, we moved over to Antwerp and graduated in 2006. And I would say in Antwerp, it's kind of where I kind of developed my love for sports, playing sports, being around there. And obviously growing up in a small town like Antwerp, you don't really have much of a sports medicine presence or any access to that. So when I was playing sports through high school, it was pretty much, you get hurt, it's Joe Schmo, or your coach is the one taking care of you, and that never ends real well. So that kind of got me going, wanting to be more involved in sports. I love playing sports, and what's better than getting paid to be around sports all day. So with that, playing sports is one thing, but being able to be around sports and watch those kids, and when they go down, having someone there that knows what they're doing and has their expertise in that is a lot more comforting for not only the athletes, but their parents or anyone else, knowing that someone besides the coach who took a 2-hour first aid class for certification to take care of them is a little more important. So I graduated in 2006 from Antwerp, and then went to University of Finley, and they have an excellent program. It's a graduate program, and got my bachelor's degree in strength and conditioning, and then went on 2 more years for master's in athletic training. And while I was there, I had an awesome opportunity to work with many different sports teams, whether it's on campus, and there's a couple other, I went to Bluffton for a semester, worked with basketball and baseball there, got to work with the football team while at Finley, and just get to see all the ins and outs of college sports, high school sports. And that's another thing I want to talk about later, is just athletic training as a profession. how versatile and how many different job settings there are with that. So personally, my credentials are a Bachelor of Science with the Strength and Conditioning, a Master in Athletic Training. I'm also certified and licensed, which I'll get to a little bit later, but just to kind of give you an idea of what athletic training is as a profession. I know, how many people here know what an athletic trainer is? A handful maybe? You know, a lot of people don't really know exactly what we do at schools or clinics or wherever we might work. When I talk to people anywhere, tell them what I do, I get anywhere from, so you're a gym teacher? No. So you're a personal trainer? Nope. Physical therapist? No. We are all of those things in a sense. That's not all we do. We do some personal training, as far as exercising goes, and we do some therapy as far as treating. But we do so much more than just being that personal trainer. We are a certified healthcare provider, and we work, in a variety of settings, whether it's youth sports, high schools like we have here, sports medicine clinics, military, colleges, Olympics, the circus. Circus Soleil they have athletic trainers on. So just about anywhere that people are moving and doing things, there's usually probably an athletic trainer creeping around somewhere looking to help somebody. So some of the minimums that you can expect out of an athletic trainer would be a bachelor's degree, and also there's a national board that everyone has to pass to get that national certification, and then state by state has their own licensure. So I know we're both licensed in Ohio, and then each state has their own testing for that license. So basically what we do, athletic trainers will work in a sports medicine team, whether, like he said, we work together. He does chiropractic. We have Dr. Johnson, Dr. Poistra as family doctors. And usually, depending on where you are, a sports medicine team can range anywhere from team psychologists to team dentists. Anything medical or health related, usually there's a place for them on a sports medicine team to help. The athletic trainer will be that front line of care when anyone has an injury or any sort of issue going on, and then we'll be kind of the front line, and then we'll kind of refer them on to wherever they need to go if we can't take care of it ourselves. So our main goal as athletic trainers is really to prevent injury, diagnose anything that should come up, and then get a treatment plan to help them get them back as soon as we can in a safe and time-effective manner there. And like I said earlier, we're very versatile and flexible. Obviously, we have to be on our toes and quick on the draw. You never know in the middle of a football game if someone goes down. Don't really know what to expect or when it's going to happen. So you just got to be ready for anything. And when it does happen, kind of get on the ball and know what's going on. You want to get that player back as quickly as possible, but also be smart and safe about it. So me personally, kind of what my role is at the schools, like you said, I'm at Edgerton every day besides Monday and Thursday, unless there's a home event. And it's really important for us, working through the hospital, to make sure that we are kind of a representative while we're out in schools or even at other schools visiting. We're kind of representing CMH as well as those schools, so we kind of conduct ourselves in a manner as far as representing everyone in the teams. And like I said, this is my 5th year, going into my 5th year with CMH and Edgerton, and it is just a great team that we have as far as Haggy and I having each other's backs. And another good thing we have through CMH would be all of the athletes that we cover through Eden, Edgerton, and Hicksville right now. If an athlete should get hurt, we have some priority scheduling to where we can get that athlete in with whether it's Dr. Poistra up in Edgerton, Dr. Johnson here at the hospital, or any other family doctor through CMH. We can get them priority scheduling, so instead of having them wait a week or two to get in and not knowing how many games they could miss, we can get them in a day or two and get that treatment plan started a little quicker. But an athletic trainer can see any type of injury, anything from, like this morning in football, I had a kid sprain his ankle to wrapping a cut, concussion, sprains, strains, to a fracture, which you don't ever want to see anything like that, but we do see it. And that's up to us to kind of treat that, get the ball rolling to get them back as quick as we can. And with me specifically, with me having a background in strength and conditioning, I kind of have a different twist on things to where I can use that in my rehab and on my return to play exercises and stuff. And like right now in the summertime, I do all of the football, volleyball, and basketball workouts for the Hicksville athletes, and then more individualized performance training with the Edgerton kids. So like this morning I was at the high school here in town, have all the football guys in, doing strength and conditioning. That way, when everyone gets in shape now, so when practice starts, 2 days gets going here in August, when all those guys are in shape already, and everyone range of motion, strength's up, that's going to cut down on our job later when everyone has been getting healthy, developing that strength, cutting down on those injuries later. So what a typical day for me at the schools would look like would be, I usually go in around the second half of the school day and have treatment hours in the training room where kids, if they have an injury already, you can come up, set up time, they can come in, get that treated before practice so they're not missing too much time off the field or court or wherever they should be on. Or if they have anything new pop up, say they get hurt the night before, they come in, get that checked out, get everything taken care of before practice starts. And so we're going to do anything from taping them before practice to stretching them to any sort of treatment or rehab that they might need before practice or game start. And then on game days, obviously, it's going to be ramped up a little bit. The kids are going to get flying around, getting stuff ready for games. And then we are there at the school for all of practice. Obviously, football is going to be a very high priority for practice and all the home games and traveling. And we cover all the home games for every school, for all the sports, basketball, volleyball, wrestling, football. And then we travel with the football team, and then basketball and baseball and softball during tournament time. Usually in the wintertime, it's going to be a little busier with 4 or 5 teams traveling everywhere. Usually someone is at home needing an event covered. So with that's kind of just the basics of athletic training and the strength and conditioning side. Like I said, we're not personal trainers, we're not physical therapists, we're not anything. We're not just those things, but we are part of those things all wrapped up in one big bundle. Does anyone have any questions? Yeah.
How about equipment upgrade? I was thinking of a football helmet because there's so much said about
concussions and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, all the football helmets are recertified. There's an organization that the helmets get sent away after the season. Those have to get checked out, inspected, and those have to be sealed by this organization before they can be used the next year. And so actually we just got all the helmets distributed yesterday here in town, Hicksville, and everyone has to go through and get fitted. And there's me and another coach that did that. We went through and fitted, make sure all the kids have a helmet that fits properly. And then as practice will get started, we had our first practice last night. So as that goes, these helmets, you put air and take air out of them so they fit properly. So it's kind of a trial and error for the first couple of practices, making sure kids are comfortable in the helmets and make sure everything fits right. But is it every year, every 2 years when you're certified? I think it's every year, but the certification's good for 2 years if it's not used that first year. So. Any other questions? Oh yeah, we do have another guy, Seth. He is part-time covering all of Eden's home events like football home games. Does he travel with Eden, I think he's just home games right now. So yeah, he's been a huge help. We were kind of scrambling there for a year, having another guy fill in there. So we found Seth. He's been an awesome addition to our team. Having him up there as just kind of another representative, even farther north of everything. So. Yeah.
I have a brother that's quite a bit younger than me that played football for the University of Toledo. And he has had both hips and both knees and has a well operated on it. And he was told that there was a change in how you lift weights and all of that. changed as the years go on?
Yeah. Well, one thing I'd like to preach a lot during the summertime especially is a lot of these kids, we have junior high kids through high school coming in the summertime for workouts, and they probably get sick of hearing me talk about it, but I preach perfect form on everything. That way we can, try and cut down on some of those injuries. So, yeah, it's very, very important to have kids working out the right way.
That reminds me, is there some kind of an age range or line there where kids really, or say younger kids, should they be lifting hard or?
The youngest we have is junior high coming in. And I'm not sure anywhere that goes much younger than that.
Yeah.
So
there hasn't been a lot of research. There's been that old wives' tale of where you're not supposed to lift before a certain age because they were worried about closing a growth plates. I haven't seen a lot of research that proves that. Now, what we try to stay away from is any kind of, we don't want to risk that. We don't want to put too much weight where they're doing an extreme jump with weights to where it can't compress any growth plates or anything like that. So we're always safe with our athletes. But like you said, mainly when we start lifting around junior high, we try to keep updated on that though, because every year new research comes out saying, hey, this is good or bad. Like just like eggs. How many times are eggs good and how many times are eggs bad? I mean, sometimes if you look through your life, there's every year something else comes up about it. So you try to stay on top of it and go with what the research is proving. We haven't really seen that says, you know what, a boy at 7 years old shouldn't be doing this lift because it's going to damage the growth plates located in their knee joint. So we haven't really seen anything like that, but it's one of those things you got to stay on top of because that may come out next year saying, you know what, we've done all these case studies and this is showing that if they start before this spot of puberty, which is going to be difficult because some boys may be this age and some boys may be 2 years later, then we try to stay on top of that and mold that. But we haven't seen any difficulty or any problems with anybody from junior high and above. But again, that's why Jake's there. That's why I'm there throughout the school year. Jake takes over in the summers. He does everything in the summers. I cover mainly through the school year. But that's why we're there to make sure it is safe. And what we do, we want to make sure we don't have the instances or lessen any kind of risk that there may be to those athletes. And I mean, then you think about, okay, now what about the girls? Well, because girls develop a little quicker. So it's hard for them to really study that, but I mean, there is some stuff going on, but we haven't seen anything that proves, you know what, you should or you shouldn't lift weights before this age. Sorry, that was a really long answer.
That's okay. And show our appreciation for the great program. I know something that must be very disappointing for the teams is when it looks like they're going to have a great year, and then one or two of their star players get hurt, and that could be the end of their season, their winning season, I should say.
HIX-TV and the Hicksville Rotary hopes that you've enjoyed this program, again featuring some of the featured speakers that appear at the Hicksville Rotary Club's weekly meetings. If you'd like to find out more about becoming a member of Rotary, it's as easy as asking a local Rotary member. And we hope that you'll join us again soon for more highlights from the Hicksville Rotary Club right here on HIX-TV.